Well, I am at the mount and dismount line of the championship race, and the pros are literally about to come through here. So I thought we'd have a bit of fun here. I'm going to commentate as they come through and they mount their bike and then dismount. I'll give you a few tips on how to mount the bike, and maybe in the heat of the moment, maybe how not to mount and dismount your bike. Slightly unexpected. That was cutting it quite fine, actually. Completely missed the dismount line. Very nice and clean, that one. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. Phew, look at that. Well done, Andy. Okay, so they're about to come through for the mount now. T1. Obviously, the idea is that you mount after the line. It can be any point after the line, so if there are a bunch of athletes, you could always nip round them and keep on running, so you've got clear space. What you're going to find with a lot of these pros is they're actually going to have their bike shoes attached to their bike already, which means they're going to do a flying mount onto their bike, which is very quick if you get it right. Okay, I don't actually know who this, but go for a flying mount. Oh, and okay, not a good start. First one, not so great. See, that's what happens. Got a narrow section of road here, flying mount on, concentrating on so much there, looking straight down, doesn't realise that he's actually veering off. So yeah, a lot to think about. Wait for the next one now. Okay, so we've got Maurice Clavel coming through here, Peter Hemerick, Thomas Davey from the UK. He's gone for a slightly slower sort of almost stopper than put his foot over. Feet straight into the shoes though, same with Peter. Adam Bowden, a lot quicker there. See what we mean talking about, like they're trying to mount and then guys are jumping on behind, almost going into the back of their wheel. So it can get quite condensed here, but that was a big pack coming through there. We're seeing various different mount styles here, so I'm actually going to time a few of them here from the mount line through to, well, there's a blue bin on the left there, so it's a short period or a short section, but actually can be quite decisive if you're trying to get away from a group or close a small gap. He's gone for a stop mount from the line. I'm going to time it to the bin just on the left there. Okay, so that was 7 seconds. This guy's got okay. Well, you know what I said about putting the foot on the shoe first? That one didn't work. He obviously just lost his balance. He couldn't get his foot onto the shoe, so ended up stumbling along for a second. Then we've got Andy Dreitz coming through now. Be interested to see how he mounts. This looks fast. Whew. Well, to the same point there compared to the guy that stopped. That was 3 seconds, okay? So you're talking 4, maybe even 5 seconds quicker than the stop mount. Okay, so I'm having a little bit of difficulty with his train. I'm not going to talk too loudly here because I don't want to stress him out too much, but he's running a 1-by setup, so potentially has bounced off as he's come through. So the chain's actually got looped, which is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, not actually allowed mechanical assistance. So the chap is kindly holding his bike for him, but Joe is trying to sort it himself. There we go, I think we've got it now. But obviously some fairly precious time lost there. And given that he was a little bit down out of the swim anyway, I'm sure that's not really what he wants. He's just gonna put his bike shoes on now, rather than trying to mount the bike with them on there already. Well done, Joe.
Well done, Joe.
I mean, we're literally talking well over a minute lost there. I think we're on about 1 minute 20 from the time that he crossed that line to the time he actually left. All right, so really cool one here. We've got para-athlete Andy Lewis coming through here. He's an absolute superstar athlete. Be interesting to see how he mounts. Whew, look at that. Well done, Andy. We've got Lucy Charles coming through now. All right. Okay, going for a stop, leg over, playing it safe. But yeah, I mean, Lucy doesn't come from an ITU background, so she's not used to like fast-paced transitions, but that was pretty slick considering it was just a stop, put the leg over. So yeah, not too much time lost there, and just played it safe. Okay, I think this is Anya Ipak coming through. Over the mountain line, she's gone for this step and over. Very nice and clean, that one. All right, so another thing I'm actually picking up on, having watched some of the pros, is actually when you start putting your feet into your shoes or start actually strapping your shoes up. So some of the athletes have managed to nail getting their feet straight into their shoes, which is fantastic. Some, like myself, I would always just put my feet onto the top. My feet are just too big. I just can't fit them in that quickly. But what we're finding as we go back through the pack is some of the maybe less experienced athletes are actually trying to like strap their shoes up at a slow speed. What I would suggest is actually get that speed up, and here we've got a corner coming up here. They probably want to get down the road, get some speed up, and then you start thinking about putting your feet in, then strapping your shoes up and whatnot. So just get that acceleration up first of all, rather than weaving all over the road whilst you're still at a slow pace trying to strap them up and maybe colliding with others. Just as they've done. So they managed to get their feet in straight away, plan on down the road, getting some speed up into that corner, and then they'll start doing their shoes up, I guess, on that next straight. We're now moving over to our dismount line. We're just moments away from our leader coming through, Peter Hemerick. So now for a little bit of a dismount analysis. All right, so we've got our leader, Peter Hemerick, coming in here. So he has to dismount before the line. So coming in now. Oh, he's going for a stop here, actually. Slightly unexpected. Okay, but playing it safe. So yeah, stop, foot down, dismount, leg over. Slower but safe, so good call. Okay, next athlete coming through is, I believe, Andy Dreitz. He's made up a lot of time here. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. I take that back. There we go. So very slick. She's gone for a flying dismount there. Believe Florian Angerd, maybe? Don't judge me. Here we go, so leg over. So flying dismount. Now this is interesting actually. So he took his leg over behind him and actually kept it behind the other one. So a lot of people actually try to bring that leg through, so then they jump off as Andy has just there. So it makes it a little bit slicker. So when you actually jump off the bike, your leg is then ready to run off, whereas before he had his leg behind, so then you're jumping off and having to sort your legs out on the move. So just an interesting thing to note there. Okay, so we've got Ben Kanute coming in here. Obviously ITU background, so I'd expect this to be pretty slick. Yeah, leg over. He's actually bringing it through, as I've just mentioned, and boom, there we go. Smooth dismount there, solid. Okay, another one coming through. Left the leg behind. Sebastian Kienle coming in. All right, slick. So another thing to note there is, obviously they have their hands on the handlebar, so as they're then stepping off, then they're moving quickly to their saddle, so it's easier to sort of run in a more upright position. You can kind of hold the bike ahead of you so you're not clipping your shins onto the bike shoes. And it's Adam Bowden coming in, so ITU athlete, pretty slick I'd imagine. There we go, yeah, nice and smooth. Just a thing to note as well, as we just saw there, is obviously he jumps off the bike, shoes start spinning around because they're not held up by elastic bands at this point. If that happens, you can end up like the bike flying everywhere. So it can sometimes just help just to lift the saddle up. So when you jump off, just grab it by the saddle and hold it up a little bit. It allows the shoes just to settle and stop spinning quite so much. Well, back to taking your feet out of the shoes. I was interrupted by athletes coming in there. But yeah, we've got a nice long straight here so they can get their feet out quite late. But if you know that the dismount line is perhaps straight after a little bit of a technical section, you may want to actually plan ahead and get your feet out before you go into that technical section. I used to actually quite like doing that. I get them out a little bit earlier maybe than some people, and it just allowed me to really hammer it into that last section and just, you know, you're ready and you're not panicking last minute. Well, we just heard that actually Daniela Blemmel and I believe Rudy Wild have to serve a penalty when they come in off the bike. I believe because they actually mounted just before the mountain line. So let's actually take a look at that. Yeah, so what this means is now when they come in on this dismount line, go into transition, there will be a penalty box somewhere within transition or early on in the run course, and they have to serve that penalty. At this race, it's 30 seconds, which could be quite decisive. Here we have a Lucy coming in. Now, Lucy's a little bit more reserved normally with her dismounts, but that was a quick one. So she's gone for a flying dismount. Very different from her mount, but I wasn't expecting that. I'd gear myself up for a stop leg over, but yeah, very good by her. Obviously been practicing. Now, I've got to say, actually, that did look a little bit sketchy, like she was maybe a bit out of control. So what actually she little tip for Lucy here is she stayed on her handlebars way too long, so she was almost like running like she was leaning forward, so obviously just going to carry momentum there. So what she would want to do is like literally switch from the handlebars straight to the saddle as soon as she can, as we saw with the likes of Sebastian Kienle and stuff doing earlier. And now we've got Anya Ipak. Ooh, that was cutting it quite fine actually. I don't know if I'd risk it that much. That was borderline being over then. I can see the technical official actually questioning it now. So got another athlete coming in here pretty fast. I don't think they've realised this is the... yeah. That is why you do a course recce, guys. Completely missed the dismount line, and I don't think they even know. They're going to find out when they get around there. Yeah, well, that was a little bit silly, but actually worth taking a note on this one, because you're going to get to the end of these kind of bike legs, you're going to be absolutely shattered. So if you don't know where that dismount line is, it's very easy, you know, to be seeing stars and all sorts and just miss a massive sign like that, which I know seems really obvious with us just standing here now, but when you're in the zone and you're knackered, you may well miss that, and unfortunately that may even be, well, not just a penalty, it might even be a disqualification for this guy. All right, so we've got Radka coming in now. She's an ex-ITU athlete, so I can imagine this being pretty slick. She's got a leg over, she's gone for flying dismount. Steadily done, but, you know, nice and smooth. Well, this has been absolutely fascinating today. I've never really had the opportunity to stand at a dismount line and just analyse the pros. Having been involved in racing before, I just sort of assumed everyone else did a flying mount and dismount. It's been interesting to see what they do. They have missed the dismount line. Didn't think that would happen in pro racing, see? Yeah, she's going back to try and sort it out. Not sure that's going to help. You've missed it. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, even the pros get it wrong, and actually even the pros do very basic mounts and dismounts. They stop, put the leg over. So I wasn't expecting that, but I guess the takeaway advice from this is stay within your comfort zone. Don't just try and do something for the sake of doing it and, well, maybe costing yourself time. If you stopped and put your leg over and ran through safely, yes, you might lose yourself a couple of seconds, but you might be avoiding yourself a penalty or a mishap. So yeah, if you did like today's video, please do hit that thumbs up button, and if you'd like to see more from GTN, click on the globe and subscribe. And if you'd like to see a transition tip video, you can see that by clicking just down here.